Hello, Cheap Ari here. As we're speaking right now, Cosmic Fury has premiered on Netflix as of September 29th, the last 10 episodes of Power Rangers ever in this continuity, and is currently pretty popular in being number 7 ranked in the top most watched list on Netflix. Now, in order to consider what's going to happen after Cosmic Fury, Creative Force Jonathan Entwistle has taken over the franchise to be able to create a new universe for what the rebooted universe is going to be. Jonathan Entwistle was hired some time ago to be the director, co-writer, producer on this effort. Now that movie, as it was initially interpreted, has now morphed into a TV series to be streaming presumably on Netflix. Now, based on timelines, this could be for 2025, late 2025, even into 2026, based on the strikes that have since impacted the start time for this project. We're going to be talking about the reboot itself and also kind of gathering potential spoilers, leaks, and hypotheses that have come out from Jonathan Entwistle's Twitter posts, from a number of leaks in terms of websites and news outlets that have kind of spoiled certain things. So we're going to go into that for this video and kind of expound upon my own theories from these little tidbits. The reboot is currently TBD in terms of when it's going to roll out. Some have hypothesized that this may roll out in late 2025 at the earliest. But as we continue to have these strikes, like the writer's strike, which was just recently resolved, and we're still waiting for the Screen Actors Guild, the actors strike to end, that will continue to push the needle to the right. So this could be as earliest as late 2025 or even 2026. Now, Jenny Klein's contract, who's the showrunner for this project, her contract is set to end in summer of 2024. So unless they intend to extend that contract, we kind of start hearing about some casting and some filming, hopefully by the second quarter of 2024. But before we get into all those kind of what ifs and stuff like that, let's talk about what has been spoiled, leaked, or implicated by some of the entertainment outlets like Illuminerdi or other scoopers like Jinsaku on Twitter. And that is that this reboot is a new universe. It is a new band of teenagers, but there are some repeat characters in this new universe. It is set to be taking place in Japan. So we're going right back to Japan, but it's still being a westernized interpretation of Super Sentai. So pretty interesting take that this is going to be firmly in Japan. And in addition to that, it's going to be focused on Japanese folklore creatures. So we're talking about dragons, we're talking about kappa, we're talking about all these folklore characters that can kind of form fit in terms of giving these Power Rangers very specific powers and Zords attributable to those creatures.
Spoilers have identified that it is once again a female lead to the team, and I would render a guess that this is more of a fish out of water type of situation, with an American female teenager now going to Japan and also getting those powers from Zordon and Alpha 5. This is all conjecture on my part based on some of the potential spoilers and leaks that have come out, but it seems to be kind of like mixing in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift with the Power Rangers 2017 reboot, with a darker skewing series, but also changing landscapes and geography. This is meant to be a more adult skewing series similar to Stranger Things, but kind of keeping the fun of the original Power Rangers.
Even the creative force behind this, Jonathan Entwistle, has hinted at things on his Twitter and then eventually deleted it. So, again, based on what has been projected thus far, is that a lot of these characters are going to be completely new. We're not going to have the same Jason. We're not going to even have a Jason. We're not going to have a Trini or any of that. These are completely new characters in a universe with potentially you've got Zordon and Alpha 5, and those are new iterations. But there has been kind of these little hints from Illuminerdi that have said that you may have from the prior continuity coming into this new universe, like a universe hopping. And the examples they gave were very interesting and kind of showing you the similarities. Number one, they name dropped Doctor Who, and specifically, they didn't identify what the comparison was, but you could render a guess that you've got a legacy actor coming in to replay the same role, that being David Tennant coming back to play Doctor Who. So you've got that, a prior actor coming back to play the same character. But they've also name dropped a couple of times Star Trek. So Star Trek, and they also specifically identified a date range. So they said about 15 years ago, Star Trek did something very similar. What happened almost 15 years ago was the Star Trek semi-reboot with Chris Pine starring in that. You had Leonard Nimoy coming from another universe and jumping into what they call the Kelvin timeline, which was things had changed due to impacts of characters coming in and changing the timeline and influencing this new parallel divergent timeline. So you had Leonard Nimoy coming in as a legacy character playing the same character of Spock. And they've name dropped that as well in terms of Star Trek from about 15 years ago being a similar comparison. And they've used Star Trek a couple of times in terms of being the reference or point of reference for what they want Power Rangers or they expect Power Rangers to be. So much like you had with Star Trek Discovery, much like we've had with some of the spin-offs of Star Trek Discovery, you've got legacy elements that have been brought in over time and then had the potential to grow and themselves become their own series. So what Jonathan Entwistle has hinted at is that, again, he posted 3 pictures on his Twitter some time ago. That is of Zordon, of Alpha, and of the Green Ranger, Tommy, in terms of what you might see for this new series. So, putting your thinking cap on, you've got a rebooted version of Zordon, you've got a rebooted version of Alpha 5, but where does that leave Tommy? Jonathan Entwistle has said upon the passing, the year anniversary passing of Jason David Frank, he identified that it was very sad to lose him, considering that Tommy was going to be so integral to Power Rangers going forward. So does that mean we were getting a new Tommy? Or was the thinking that Jason David Frank's Tommy would jump between timelines, jump between universes, I should say, and enter this new show as kind of like a guiding force sometime in that first season? Something to think about. Now, what plans have changed if they were going that route, considering that Jason David Frank is no longer with us? Would they have still Tommy show up, but just helmeted? Are we even using that version of Tommy? Would it be other Rangers that would step up to be those legacy characters, like Amy Jo Johnson or other Mighty Morphin Power Ranger characters to show up in this universe of hopping into this new iteration of Power Rangers? Remains to be seen. But I do think it's interesting that they still leave the door open for other legacy characters to come into this new show, and I definitely think it's a high possibility, but we'll have to see what they plan to do, given that if Jason David Frank was kind of conceptually going to be the legacy character to appear in this new series, how are they going to pivot, having now lost him? What are they going to do to have a legacy character show up in this new series? So something to think about, guys. So I hope you guys like this breakdown. Please like and subscribe, and may the power protect you.
Good luck.